Close air support is part of the game, but it can be really annoying sometimes. And then it's time to use your anti-aircraft vehicle. Unfortunately, War Thunder offers a larger selection of airplanes and helicopters, and in realistic battles you don't have a lead indicator to help you aim. Especially for vehicles that don't have radar, it can be complicated to play them efficiently. You have to watch out not only for the enemy tanks, but also for the enemy aircraft that can attack from several directions. And if you want to shoot at the enemy planes, you have to pay attention to a lot of things at the same time. In my new video I want to give you some tips how to play these anti-aircraft vehicles without radar successfully, and hopefully stop the close air support at least a little bit. Welcome to my new video. Please leave a comment and let me know about your favorite anti-aircraft vehicle. I've been trying for a while to find a trick that would make it easier to do something about close air support, but in the end I kept coming back to using the following 3 tips. Tip number 1: prepare for the battle. Before going into battle against aircraft that attack from multiple directions, you should prepare your vehicle and crew for it, because you want to be fast and efficient. In terms of crew, you want to at least level the gunner at the targeting skill. This is my first priority when I level a new crew for fighting against planes, because the targeting skill affects targeting speed and accuracy. An experienced gunner targets the gun both vertically and horizontally at once, while an unexperienced one does it in turns. At first he rotates the turret and then fixes the angle of fire. You can also level some other crew members, but you really want to be able to react fast and get your aim on a plane that passes by. The same applies to the vehicle itself, where you should quickly research the horizontal drive, the adjustment of fire and the elevation mechanism. Since it is not so easy to hit a plane, you want to make sure that it does damage, and this is where the different types of ammunition become interesting. When I want to fight aircraft, I only use incendiary ammunition, because armor-piercing shells simply go through the hull of the aircraft and in the worst case just leave a hole. In addition, with some anti-aircraft vehicles you can also choose ammunition with different muzzle velocity, and the faster the shot flies, the easier it is to hit the aircraft. And that brings us to my next tip. Tip number 2: how to aim efficiently with anti-aircraft vehicles. In my opinion, it's not that easy to hit aircraft with an anti-aircraft vehicle, especially if you don't play them all the time and are out of practice. I had better matches and consistent success when I followed these 4 tips when aiming. Move closer to the action. Aim and shoot in third person. Shoot a burst in a straight line where the enemy might be, and focus on enemies with a low energy. Some of you are certainly better at shooting at planes from a greater distance, but I got better as I got closer to the action. Most of the time planes try to take out tanks at the capture points, so you are more likely to encounter some enemy planes there. And in addition, you are closer to the enemy. Still try to stay away from enemy tanks. Use solid cover and make sure you always have some teammates in tanks around you. The only situation in which I use the gunner's perspective is when a plane is flying directly at me. In all other situations the view is too small and you can't react to the opponent's movements at all. That's why I use third person view, and if necessary I just zoom in to have a better view of the opponent. This point is probably the most difficult and the one that needs the most practice. Planes can fly in multiple directions, change their speed and easily dodge shots at long range. That is why it is so important to get closer to the enemy. Always try to shoot a concentrated burst at an estimated point where the enemy plane will be. Rather lead a little too far ahead and take the bullet drop into account. Here tip number 1 is again useful, where it is about the muzzle velocity, because the faster the shot flies, the faster it is on target and the less bullet drop it has. You can tell if you are leading too far or too little by watching your shots. If you can see the bullets in front of the aircraft as it passes, then your lead was not enough. If the shots disappear behind the aircraft, then you have too much lead. For anti-aircraft vehicles that can shoot permanently, this is not so relevant, as you are more likely to give more lead than too little here anyway. You can also guess the future position of the plane by the traces of the shots that are fired by the plane, because most likely the enemy plane will continue to fly this path for a few more seconds. As I said, unfortunately it's all a matter of practice. If an aircraft is flying directly at you, you usually have to hold a little lower or onto the aircraft. This is because the plane is usually coming at you in a dive, but spray and pray also helps. In conclusion, the most important thing is that you shoot in a concentrated burst at the estimated point where the enemy will be and do not follow him with your shots. This may work once or twice, but I have had more consistent success with this method. Focusing on enemies with low energy means you are more likely to shoot at planes that have already made a few turns. When an opponent is freshly spawned in the plane, he usually comes flying at over 400 km per hour, and it is really difficult to estimate the right point where the opponent will be. Here it still helps to shoot at the enemy to put him under pressure, so that he hopefully messes up his attack. From time to time you can get a hit or two, but opponents who have already lost a lot of energy due to many turns are much easier to hit. So you can also draw the attention on you with shots and hide yourself behind solid cover. If the enemy then turns, just try to relocate, and make sure that the opponent slowly loses his energy while doing so. Tip number 3: pick your go-to vehicle. I like to play vehicles with a fast fire rate and maybe some armor to use, because open top vehicles can be destroyed easily by enemy planes or tanks. There aren't many anti-aircraft vehicles in this game, and sometimes I use a vehicle that is way below the actual BR I play at. In the end, you have to find your favorite vehicle to shoot down enemy planes. There are vehicles with a fast fire rate, open top vehicles that can easily be destroyed by planes, tanks with heavy machine guns that can damage and shoot down planes or even just planes themselves. You can also use an anti-aircraft vehicle and pick the armor-piercing and incendiary belt, or bring different belts to the match to fight enemy tanks while waiting for planes. But doing so, I haven't had the best matches. In conclusion, I recommend to pick your favorite vehicle. Prepare the crew and the vehicle itself to fight planes. Move closer to the capture point or action and shoot a concentrated burst in a straight line on an estimated point. In addition, some solid cover and teammates around you won't hurt your chances to be successful fighting enemy planes. I hope you liked the video and I was able to give you some tips on how to play anti-aircraft vehicles successfully, to finally have an answer to the close air support. Of course, every vehicle is unique and has its own playstyle. So if you want me to have a closer look at a specific anti-aircraft vehicle of the big 3 nations, let me know about it in the comments. Like, subscribe and leave a comment if you want to, and check out my Discord server for more information and to connect with other players. Hope to see you in game soon.